Stoicism originated in ancient Greece and was founded by Zeno of Citium in the early 3rd century BC. It gained popularity in ancient Rome and influenced many great thinkers and leaders. The main principles of Stoicism include living in harmony with nature and accepting what we cannot change, pursuing virtue through self-control, wisdom, justice, courage, and moderation, not letting destructive emotions rule us, but instead maintaining equanimity, focusing only on what is within our power, not external things like wealth, health, or fame. Stoics believe that by following reason and virtue, we can find happiness and fulfillment. They emphasize fortitude, self-discipline, and cultivating an inner calm through logic and knowledge. While Stoicism declined after the Roman era, its concepts lived on and influenced modern philosophy, psychology, and cognitive behavioral therapy. Stoic practices provide a framework for resilience and overcoming life's difficulties. Stoicism teaches us that we don't control what happens to us, but we can control how we respond. By training our minds, we can find tranquility and purpose even in adversity. Control destructive emotions. The Stoics understood that emotions can easily spiral out of control, leading to suffering and turmoil. Rather than be controlled by their emotions, the Stoics sought to exert control over them through reason and discipline. One technique they practiced was negative visualization, imagining the loss of possessions or loved ones. This was done not to induce sadness, but to appreciate what one has in the present moment. When something is actually lost, it's easier to accept and adapt. The Stoics also focused inwards, differentiating between what's within their control and what isn't. While external events are outside of one's control, the reaction to them is within one's control. Rather than rail against the winds of fate, the Stoics aim to control their judgments and responses. Destructive emotions like anger and anxiety stem from incorrect judgments about what's good or bad. By examining impressions rationally and objectively, these judgments can be corrected, allowing one to achieve inner calm and equanimity. This mastery over the inner self is true freedom for the Stoics. Pursuit of virtue. The Stoics believed that the path to happiness and fulfillment lies in living virtuously. For the Stoics, virtue is the highest good, more valuable than wealth, pleasure, or fame. The virtues they emphasized include wisdom, justice, courage, and moderation. To live wisely, the Stoics recommend using reason to understand the world and make proper judgments. Wisdom enables us to distinguish good from evil and make the right choices. Justice means dealing fairly with others and fulfilling one's duties. Courage allows us to face misfortunes with resilience and act in alignment with virtue. Moderation provides balance and self-control over destructive emotions and impulses. By mastering these virtues, the Stoics maintained that we can achieve a state of inner tranquility, free from negative passions. Virtue leads to happiness because it aligns our actions with universal reason and our true nature. Vice leads to misery because it enslaves us to fleeting pleasures and passions. The Stoics believed that the virtuous life is the only life worth living for a human being. Fate and acceptance. The Stoic philosophers taught that we should accept our fate and the events outside of our control with equanimity. Much of what happens in life is due to forces beyond our influence: the circumstances of our birth, natural events, the actions of others. A Stoic recognizes the limits of their control and chooses to focus only on what they can control: their judgments, values, desires, and actions. Rather than struggling against the inevitable, the Stoic cultivates inner peace through acceptance. As Epictetus said, "Make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens." Attempting to control what is uncontrollable leads only to frustration and suffering. It is better to direct our energy toward perfecting our faculty of judgment, aligning our values with virtue, and acting with wisdom and justice. The Stoic greeting, Amor Fati, reflects loving one's fate. By embracing life's difficulties and uncertainties with courage and equanimity, we transcend external circumstances. Our happiness rests in our perspective, not in external happenings. With wisdom and perseverance, we can turn misfortune into opportunity for growth. The obstacles of life refine our character, just as the whetstone sharpens the knife. Rather than struggling in vain against the winds of fate, the Stoic adjusts the sails of their mindset. We alone decide how we perceive and respond to events. Adopting an attitude of acceptance provides inner freedom and resilience. Though the world may at times seem chaotic or unjust, we can find serenity through aligning our will with the greater flow of life. Self-discipline. The path of Stoicism demands rigorous self-discipline and self-control. We must train ourselves to overcome destructive impulses and desires, and master our judgments and perceptions. Stoics practice mindfulness, focus, and presence. They structure their days and routines to support their practice. Through consistent effort, they gain increasing command of their thoughts, speech, and actions. This self-mastery leads to an inner citadel of tranquility. The Stoic is not easily disturbed by external events or the opinions of others. They adapt to circumstances with poise and equanimity. Stoics also aim to perfect their character. They diligently cultivate wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. By living virtuously, they gain freedom from suffering. Their happiness stems from their own inner fortress, not the fleeting pleasures of the outside world. The Stoic path requires constant vigilance. Progress comes gradually through persistence, but the rewards are serenity, resilience, and self-sufficiency. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Discipline yourself to conquer all lying habits. In the very act of doing this, you will achieve tranquility." Indifference to external things. The Stoics taught that the external world is ultimately indifferent. Things like wealth, fame, and pleasure are neither inherently good nor bad. They are simply preferred or dispreferred. What truly matters is not externals, but one's judgments and character. The Stoics recognize that it's natural to value health over sickness and enjoy pleasure in moderation. But they warned about forming attachments to such indifferent things, which can lead to suffering when circumstances change. A virtuous person should try to feel indifferent towards these externals. For the Stoics, the only true good was moral virtue. The only true evil was moral vice. Everything else lay in between. By detaching from indifferent things, one removes a major source of distress. This frees us to focus on developing wisdom, justice, courage, and self-control. The Stoic sage felt indifferent towards wealth and poverty, fame and obscurity. He or she did not seek pleasure for its own sake, but lived temperately according to nature. By not clinging to what lies beyond one's control, the sage maintained tranquility of mind. This allowed for the full and virtuous expression of one's humanity. Living in accordance with nature. The Stoic view of human nature is that we are inherently rational, social creatures capable of developing virtue. Our capacity for reason allows us to understand the world and live thoughtfully. We are made for community and have a social duty to care for one another. Stoics believe that living virtuously aligns us with the rational order of the universe. There is a natural law that guides moral living. To live in accordance with nature is to live wisely and justly. It means accepting what we cannot control, while working to improve what we can. The ideal Stoic life embodies the four cardinal virtues of wisdom, justice, courage, and moderation. By living virtuously, we fulfill our true purpose and align with the providential order of the cosmos. The Stoics saw universal nature as a rational, benevolent force that directs all things. Though the world contains good and evil, there is an overarching goodness to existence. Our experiences are meant to teach and develop us. Adversity helps build character when met with courage and wisdom. By enduring trials virtuously, we participate in the divine plan. The Stoic prescription is to live according to reason, rising above irrational passions and desires. We must understand our place in the world, fulfill our duties, and submit to the way things are. But we also have the power to choose our response. Our character is formed through practice and perseverance. Progress comes gradually as we learn to accept what we cannot change and change what we can. By living in harmony with nature, we find meaning and fulfillment. Community and duty. Stoics believe that humans have a duty to contribute to society, as we are inherently social creatures meant to cooperate and help one another. This stems from the Stoic view of cosmopolitanism, the idea that all human beings share a common nature and common human society, regardless of their specific cultural identity or citizenship. The Stoics saw virtue as something that had to be exercised, not just individually, but socially. We are all citizens of the same world, and as such, we have a shared responsibility to cultivate justice, wisdom, courage, and moderation, not just for ourselves, but for the common good. The goal is to create a just, rational, and virtuous society. Stoics therefore emphasized participating in public affairs and contributing positively to the community. They saw it as their duty to serve in political office or the military when called upon, because humans thrive in a well-ordered society. With shared norms and values, we can build a world where all people are treated fairly and humanely. The Stoic Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and philosopher, wrote, "What brings no benefit to the hive brings none to the bee." This underscores how Stoics see all human beings as part of the same colony, united in a common purpose. By coming together and each doing our part for the whole, we can create a society marked by wisdom, justice, and human flourishing. Practical applications. Stoicism provides a framework for living a good life, but turning its principles into practice requires effort and commitment. Here are some ways we can apply Stoic ideals in our daily lives. Managing emotions. When we face trying situations, Stoicism advises us not to be controlled by our emotional reactions. Instead of acting on anger or grief, pause and remember that external things are beyond our control. Focus on your response, not the event itself. Use logic and reason to respond virtuously. Cultivating self-control. Adopting a Stoic mindset takes practice. Start each day by reflecting on how you can demonstrate virtue. When challenging situations arise, remember your commitment to overcoming destructive emotions. Avoid rash actions and remain calm. Finding inner tranquility. Periodically take time for spiritual reflection and contemplation through journaling, meditation, or silent walks in nature. This helps develop inner fortitude. Review your actions each evening and make plans for personal improvement. Dealing with anxiety. When anxious thoughts enter your mind, recognize that worrying about possible future events is futile. Focus your mind on the present moment and things within your control. Anxiety often melts away when we direct our attention to taking positive action now. Coping with loss. The Stoic view is that loss is inevitable, so we must learn to accept it with equanimity. Allow yourself to fully grieve, but don't become bitter or despondent. Remember that you still have an opportunity to live virtuously and fulfill your duties, which is what truly matters. Interacting with others. Treat everyone with kindness, empathy, and compassion. Avoid gossip and judgment. Lead by example. Stoicism emphasizes that we are all part of a larger human community. Our lives are intertwined, so we should strive to be helpful to one another. Conclusion. Stoicism has evolved over centuries from its origins in ancient Greece and Rome, yet its insights into character, ethics, and living a good life remain timelessly relevant. The Stoics taught that happiness comes from living virtuously, not from seeking pleasure or material goods. They encouraged self-control, facing adversity with courage, and being guided by reason rather than emotion. At its core, Stoicism is about gaining inner freedom and resilience. By focusing only on what we can control, accepting what we cannot, and approaching life's ups and downs with equanimity, we can achieve tranquility of mind. The Stoics' teachings on perspective, mindfulness, and overcoming destructive emotions continue to inspire people seeking meaning and purpose. While some see Stoicism as promoting detachment and indifference, its ultimate aim is to make us more connected to humanity. By pursuing self-mastery, we can live in harmony with the community and fulfill our duties wholeheartedly. The emphasis on ethics and virtue points us toward leading lives of wisdom, justice, courage, and moderation. Studying the Stoics invites us to reflect deeply on how we live. Their timeless insights can help anyone seeking inner peace and the strength to endure hardship. If you found resonance with the Stoic principles covered here, continue your journey by reading the original works of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, and others. Allow their wisdom to shape your character and guide your actions. The path of Stoicism promises much reward for those willing to walk it.